And I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, how we doing? First of all, we're very excited to be going to Cincinnati for a few days later this week. So I just wanted to remind everyone about that. You're not going.
I didn't get invited, so don't.
Did AJ get invited?
I didn't get invited. I didn't get invited either. Nope.
I got invited.
No invite for me.
Anyway, don't start Mondays off like this.
You guys are still my friends,
Yeah.
though, right?
I mean, you can't just say, "Hey, you're still my friend." Like that's
I don't
our
understand.
department.
Why didn't Kratz and I get invited? That's more of the question. Is Kratz and I didn't get invited? Why? I want to know why we didn't get invited.
I know.
What?
Todd in Cincinnati is way cooler than either one of us.
And who else?
Oh yeah, Danny Graves is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So the pitchers aren't that cool. Don't try
If
to.
we do one at the Brewers, you're so invited.
He's cool in his own mind. Danny Graves is cool in his own mind. He's not that like compared to like catchers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sure.
It's not
And
close.
for AJ, I mean, if we do it in Chicago, Minnesota, etc. But maybe next time. It will not be most likely our only trip to Cincinnati. So how about that?
Hey, when you got Todd, you need to do it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yep.
So anyway, more details on that later on. But we did break it last Friday that we'll be there for shows on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So stay tuned for more information on that front. We will be live on the scene for opening day. And there is a scramble going on right now. We'll trade. We'll get to in a sec. Extensions, which hadn't really been formulating for most of spring training like they usually do. And now all of a sudden they're hitting hard and fast. So let's charge them out.
Charging the mound.
AJ, can you explain this one for me? Cleveland traded Nolan Jones several years ago to the Rockies, who had a breakout 2023, down 2024 for a number of reasons, both on the field and off. And then the Rockies trade him back to Cleveland. Guardians need pop for Tyler Freeman, utility infielder, heading to Colorado. Now, they acquired Juan Brito for Nolan Jones a couple years back. So now they traded Jones. They get him back. They still have Brito. And I'm not knocking Tyler Freeman. Nice, serviceable utility player. Plays good defense. But the upside of Nolan Jones is still high, right? He's not 39.
I
I
agree.
think he's like 26.
There must be something we don't know about because I don't understand why they would make this deal. The best part of this is they were on the phone texting each other, "Hey, I got traded. I got traded too," and then boom, they got traded for each other and didn't know. I think it's awesome. I think it's hilarious. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, we've had, questionable questions about the Rockies and what they're doing and where they're headed. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand this one. 2 years ago, he hit 20 homers, 60 RBIs, had a 930 OPS. Last year was a down year, but I don't know. I like his chances, and he's going to fit in great in that Cleveland outfield because they don't have any pop in that outfield. They need all the pop they can get.
Yeah, without putting Big Christmas out there, you're struggling to really get much pop. And I think the upside is really big on Nolan Jones. Tyler Freeman is a big league player, but I'm wondering, did they feel like they had too many outfielders, the Rockies? Because you can't just run three dudes out there in that outfield, in that altitude. You're just gonna get worn out. You just can't play. You can't play the same. You almost have to have a mandatory 4-man rotation out there no matter what. I mean, Brent Doyle, Gold Glove out there. Maybe they didn't think Nolan Jones' defense was that great, but to me, this is good for Cleveland because they were like, no, you know what? I think we're just going to let this guy go. He strikes out too much in the minor leagues. Little cup of coffee in the big leagues. Then he went to the Rockies, and they're like, oh crap, maybe we want him back. I think it's a great pickup for Cleveland.
For Colorado, AJ, their outfield, according to Fangraphs right now, is Doyle, like Kratz mentioned, Jordan Beck, and Nick Martini. I know Zach Veen's been hitting well in spring training, so I don't know what his situation is, but it's not the outfield of your dreams. I mean, Nolan Jones should be the best outfield.
What position is Chris Bryant listed as? The first base? DH?
DH.
Okay. I mean, Veen's the guy who bat flips and almost kills pitchers, so I mean, he's got to make the team, right?
so much swag, bro.
And he's got a lot of swag. I don't know. I thought Nolan Jones was a great bounce back candidate, especially being in Coors Field, but now he's going to go to Cleveland and get to play a lot. And Voter knows how to, it seems like, put guys in the right situations, make guys feel comfortable. So I don't know. I like this move for Cleveland. I don't get it from the Rockies side, but we don't get a lot from the Rockies side.
We don't, but Cleveland's side of it, they've been looking for a platoon for Big Christmas. As much as I joked about it with Voter when we were in the BBWAs, like, the dude needs more at-bats. And if they're not willing to give that to him, have a strict platoon only versus lefties. And then Nolan Jones gets all the righties. So I think it's big for him.
So, AJ, the Guardians have a little bit of Rays of the Midwest vibes to them with the way they've been able to develop pitching and operate on a really, really small budget and have some success lately. I mean, last year's a good example. That was a super low budget team, made it to the ALCS. Pitching was fire. They've made some really smart transactions over the last several years. To me, it was one of those cases where the Rockies clearly have not or should not be receiving benefit of the doubt. You get a phone call from a team that already had Nolan Jones, regrets trading him away and seeing him thrive in 2023, calls to get him back. What should they have done? Most likely
wondered what they did wrong and maybe have them. I mean, if I'm the Rockies, I'm wondering why the Guardians want him so badly. You know, it's like when you make trades with the Rays, you wonder, man, do they know something we don't know? That's what you always hear. Like when the Rays call, don't answer because they know something you don't know. And it seems like it always works out for them. Not always, but it just seems that way. I don't know. It's a weird trade for me, but we'll see how it plays out. We'll see what the Rockies end up. But it's definitely not a standard trade that you would think would a team like the Rockies that needs all the help they can get would make, especially offensively.
And Nolan had a back issue last year. I know he was dealing with something off the field too, right? A family issue. I don't have to get into it, but back issue alone, I'm like, okay. If you think this is chronic, this is it. This guy's going to be 75 OPS plus, cool. But at 26, I look 1 year before that and say 4-win player, 138 OPS plus, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases in 106 games, by the way, 2 years ago.
I mean, he couldn't be happier. Get out of Colorado, not because the team's bad or the organization, but because if you have back problems and you got to try to recover and play throughout a whole year in Colorado, welcome to Cleveland. Cleveland rocks.
Mm-hmm. And it's a much more competitive team. Much, much more competitive team. So good for him. Weird one, but we'll take it. Cleveland also gets involved in extension season. Tanner Bibee, who's their guy right now. I mean, I know Bieber's working his way back, but here's the contract details from Zach Mizell. 5 years, club option for 2030. It guarantees him $48 million over those 5 years. There's a signing bonus, the club option. Excuse me. I'm allergic to extensions, but for Bibee, I mean, it could end up being, let's see, if they take the 6th year, 6 years, $68 million. So it's at least 5 years, $48 million. We always have to do our reminder, AJ, to everyone, that this is not the same as a free agent contract. Don't look at some free agent pitcher and say, how does that person get this and Bibee only get that? This is a guy who still has plenty of years of team control left, but they take up at least one free agent year, maybe two, if they pick up that club option, which would run things through 2030. I was looking back at how he did last year, and really he's been good for a couple seasons. Last year, he made 31 starts, 173 and 2/3 innings. Nowadays, that's a workhorse. Cleveland in his starts was 24-9. I know you hate wins and losses for pitchers, but can I sell you on the team record?
I do.
Can I sell you on the team record? 24-9. AKA, this guy pitches, then they go to the bullpen, which was elite, and they win games.
He's their ace. Listen, you said it. He's their guy right now. I don't care what you can put. You can throw any number you want at me, Scott. This guy pitched game one of every playoff series that he was eligible to pitch, he was their guy, and he deservedly so. He kind of came out of nowhere. I think it was last year. Geez, because I remember I had one of his first starts. And I'm like, who is this Bibbity guy? Right? And they're like, no, it's Bibee. And then we got to talk to him, and he was awesome. And then we've had him on the show, and he's great. I think he finished, second in the Rookie of the Year last year?
No, this is 2 years ago. You're mixing up
2 years ago.
23 and 24. 2 years ago, he came on the scene, and you were like, what is this guy? But, yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Sorry, there's been a lot of games I've done in the last 2 years, so get confused. A lot of Guardians games. I'm serious. Yes. So yeah, but listen, this guy's great. We had him on the show last year. He was unbelievable interview, and he's got the glasses. He's got the whole look. He's got the fastball that he throws at the top of the zone. He's got to break him on a changeup off of it. He ain't scared. He throws it over the plate. He started in playoff games for him last year, and this is a great extension for him and for the Guardians. It keeps him under team control. They know what he's going to make for the next 5 years. And you know what? It also makes him easier to trade if it comes down to it because other teams know what he's going to make. So congratulations, Tanner. You got your first one. Congratulations, Guardian. You just got another trade chip down the road.
Essentially, the Guardians just paid $26 million, if I do my math right, for the rest of his time as a Guardian. Because as a free agent, he would have been gone anyway. Mm-hmm. They cost certainty his time with the Guardians. The extra, $21 million in 19 would be his first free agent year. Mm-hmm. 21 club option. All that does is make him super valuable to trade. Guardians are never going to pay him $21 million.
Right.
There's a chance they don't even pay him the $10 million, depending on how the 2028 season goes. And I know that's, morbid, it's looking terrible, like, he's not going to be here. They did a great job of locking it up because with the signing bonus, it's $26 million that they're going to pay him for 4 years. You get your number one for $6 a year. Yeah, you're pretty decent. Because if he goes in top 5, top 10 in Cy Young in the next 2 years, it's just going to skyrocket. It's already high because he was number 2 in Rookie of the Year voting, and he already got that million and a half bonus pool because he got that. But yeah, it was crazy. Good for both of them because he's locked up. He's young, and he's not really giving away. Pitchers are getting 6-8-year deals when they're 30 years old. He'll be a free agent at 31.
Yeah, when you're a pitcher at that age, you take some cash first, right?
Oh, 100%. I don't know if it's even just pitchers.
Anybody?
I think anybody. I mean, it wasn't like he was a high pick. He was a 5th rounder. There's just a lot. I'm not telling everybody to take an extension. I'm just saying, get your money. Don't necessarily think, this is going to last forever, because it might not. And then he's not giving away, his age 30 to 35 season through this contract. It's a lot of money and good for him.
I just think, AJ, it's a much easier case for a pitcher for 2 reasons. One, pitchers get hurt more than position players, and those injuries could be career ending. And 2, pitchers, like Kratz is mentioning, can get paid a little easier in their 30s. The trust factor, if you do make it into your 30s and you look really good, is higher from teams than if you're most players. Besides the superstar outliers, they look at you if you're in your 30s as a position player and say, hey, we're counting down the days until that bat speed slows down.
Yes, they are. I mean, they'd call you old at 30 nowadays. That was like, a lot of times when guys are coming into their prime because they were smarter and they knew how to hit. Now it's like, you're 30? Pfft, you're so old. And which I disagree with, especially for position players. But yeah, they're almost like pitchers now. Oh, has he had a Tommy John? Oh, okay. Well, yes. So, okay. Well, then he's 30. So we know we can get 4 or 5 more years at him because he's had a Tommy John. He might have a second one, but it'll be fine. We can bounce back from that too. So again, I love this deal for Tanner. I love it for the Guardians. And it's good for these guys to get their first contract because it matters.
Yep, I'm with you. And much more to hit in terms of signings, extensions, all of that later on. Kyle Gibson signed and Alejandro Kirk signed an extension, all that. We'll get to a little bit later on. Coming up next, our buddy, Rowdy Tellez of the Mariners, joining us on FT. FT fam, new sponsor alert, trueclassic.com/foul. You got a little True Classic action going for us right now. Proper polo.
Proper polo.
Very
like,
nice.
Super, super soft. Like they're just so soft and so nice. Form fitting. Did they make you look jacked, AJ?
No, because I don't like to go Scott and have my sleeves all pulled up like you guys do. Like I like my sleeves down a little bit, so I hide the goods, unlike you two, who wear shirts that are too small. But my True Classic fits me great. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a True Classic.
It's perfect.
I mean, look, I could go Scott and be like, "Look at my biceps, everybody. I'm gonna go Sammy Sosa and get elastic in my arms," but I'm not. I like to hide the goods.
It looks good.
It's actually the Phil Mickelson cut. Because Tiger was looking jacked in his shirts, that he was like his actual muscles were making him look jacked. And then Phil Mickelson was like, "Yeah, make my sleeves a little tighter so I look jacked." So you're the Phil Mickelson of this crew.
Yes, very well done. Premium clothes at an affordable price. We'll tell you more about it throughout the week, but build the perfect outfit in 5 minutes or less. Everything goes great together. Free shipping on all orders. 100% perfect fit guarantee. With easy returns. So whether you're bundling up for the cold or you're getting ready for spring, you can level up your style with clothes that actually fit right. Go to FT's exclusive link, trueclassic.com/foul to save. That's trueclassic.com/foul. Shop now and elevate your wardrobe today at True Classic. All right, we're back for 2 minutes here, getting everyone set up for the week. And also, I just want to keep reminding people at the top of the show here, for those catching it later on, 11 a.m. still for most of this week. Okay? So tomorrow is still 11 a.m. Eastern time when the show starts. Some of you are like, damn, that's early. There's spring training games at 1. We want to bring players on. It all makes sense. That's why we can get somebody like Rowdy Tellez today.
Wednesdays is up in the air when we're starting.
That's fine. That's why I only said Tuesday, 11 a.m. we're day to day right now with our schedule, AJ. But
the player schedule.
Yes, it's on the player schedule and how we're getting interviews. The one thing I can promise, what?
I don't care what time you guys are on Wednesday. I ain't on, so you guys can have a great time. I got stuff to do.
That's true. But also next week, we're normal again for the rest of the year. So that's the one thing I can promise. We do this during spring training, but next week, 1 o'clock East Coast time, and that's it. Rest of the season. Cool? Be right back with Rowdy Tellez. Always a treat. Oh, the camera quality looks really good too. Rowdy Tellez with us right now. That's Major League Wi-Fi at Mariners camp. Dude, good to see you. You having fun?
Yeah, I am. By the way, your shirt's a little tight. You should probably go up a size.
Me or Kratz?
No, Kratz looks good. AJ, you look
Mine?
good too. That's a good point. I listened to your shirt comment. Scott, you're trying way too hard. I get it that it's a kid's large and you want to fit in, but it's a little snug.
It's a men's medium.
I'm gonna go out on a limb. If there's any 4 of us who are going in a shirtless show day, Scotty's going shirtless. And so if his shirt is smallest of all of us, it's fair. Like he's worked at it. He's worked at it. I'm just saying, I'm right here.
I might be just jealous more so. Maybe it's just a jealousy comment.
I mean, you look great this year. You lost all that weight. Now your numbers look good. Like maybe you're like looking at Scott's shirt and being like, going to the equipment guy, hey, can I get my opening day shirt a large, please?
No. I don't need a slim fit. I still need some space to move.
Okay.
I still need a bit. But yeah, it's been a good camp. It's been fun. We take off today, so and just me personally, Arizona spring's better than Florida spring. Let's just call a spade a spade.
So does that mean you made the team? That's what I want to know. Did you make the team? Have they told you? If you leave today, doesn't that mean you made the team?
Probably got to go find out here in a second. They're probably going to call me mid-show right here and tell me I have to go in the office.
Do it live.
We're going to get the shoulder tap. We're going to get the shoulder tap while we're talking to you. Is Dan Wilson going to shoulder tap you?
Yeah, I didn't have the little red Post-it note in my locker, and my little snake wasn't, when I was doing my Jobu, it didn't show up. So hopefully that means something good.
Well, that's awesome. Congrats. Tell me what it was like this offseason. Yeah. That's what I want to know, because we obviously love you on the show, and you're great on the show, and we were worried about you. So what was it like this offseason when all you had was NRIs and you went in on a minor league deal and had to fight to make the team?
Obviously it wasn't ideal, but I had a few offers, and I mean, nothing really came till the Super Bowl, which was that was pretty nerve-wracking. I would say if I had hair, I would have lost it, or maybe it just started growing back. But I ended up just driving out to Arizona. I was like, I'm going to go to Arizona. That was where my best offers were. And about halfway through, I got pulled over going way too fast. And at the time, I was agreeing to terms with the Mariners. So maybe that was a good sign. And I didn't even get a ticket, so it was pretty cool.
Wait. How did you get out of the ticket? Screw the baseball stuff. How did you get out of the ticket while you were on the phone? And what state is allowing a superstar like Rowdy Tellez off the hook?
Okay. At the risk of getting canceled, I was almost till El Paso, and I had my Team Mexico bag in my car, and I rolled my window down, and he saw it. And he was like, "Hey, are you Mexican?" And I was like, "Yes." Then we got to talking, and he was like, "What's in the cooler in the back?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a bunch of deer meat." And I was like, "Do you want any?" And I was like, "Wait, I'm not bribing you." Like, "No, I'm not bribing you. I promise. I got a lot back there if you want some." And he was like, "No, I'm good. Thank you, though." But he was like, "I'm just letting you know, you're getting closer to the El Paso, the border stuff. There's going to be more people. I'll just be careful." And I was like, "All right, thanks."
How fast were you going?
Speed limit was 80.
And they pulled you over?
No, I was going well above that.
Were you going above how hard Paul Skeens throws or above Ben Joyce's fastball?
Maybe more of a splinker from Paul.
Okay, that's fair.
Maybe. I gonna be honest, it was probably like I was going like 90, 91.
Hey, so apparently the Team Mexico bag in deer meat has more pull than a Chicago White Sox full uniform in spring training, because I got pulled over full uniform going to a game to Goodyear, and the guy gave me a ticket on I-10, made me get out of the car, full uniform. Ozzie Guillen and Joey Cora are calling me, "You're going to be late to the game." And I'm like, "Look, guys, I'm getting a ticket." And they're like, "No way they're going to give you a ticket." Full uniform. I had my White Sox bag in the back. The guy didn't care. I was going like 70 and a 65. No, this is regular hair. Just because I have hair, I can bleach it. See.
But I'm saying, I'm just trying to ask. I was trying to get down to it. I was going to give you a compliment, but then you start throwing out stuff like that, and it's just low blow after low blow, and I'm not doing it anymore.
Well, I asked a legit question. The Team Mexico bag in deer meat had more pull than my White Sox uniform did, so that is a compliment.
Yeah, because it's the White Sox.
Well, I didn't say that.
And it's you. They probably knew who you were. You probably handed them your player card. They just didn't have cameras back then on their chest, and you probably said, "Hey, it's AJ Pierzynski from the White Sox." And I said, "I don't even know who that is. Must be you wear number 96. They thought you were a back half player." And you're like, what? We're just going to double this fine.
I paid it proudly, and it got a great story. So I'm all for it. I love the great stories. I'm about a great story.
Yeah, they don't print on newspapers anymore, so.
Are you so you're going to these next games? Are you guys playing exhibition games where you guys are going right out of Arizona?
No, I don't think so. I did find out though, if I make team, we play the Little League games, Little League World Series games. Ooh. That'd be pretty cool.
Is that fair? Like, I think you're going to get a hit against one of the Little Leaguers because those guys aren't as good as you.
Yeah, but they throw hard from 45 feet.
Do you think you could hit a Little Leaguer from 45 feet? I mean, the dudes that are in the Little League World Series, some are pumping cheese.
Yeah, you know what? I think so. I think it would just maybe be a 2-strike, get the head down, head out and flip one over there. But I think if I flip one over there, that's 200 feet, and I might have a chance. I could probably be pretty good. What was that guy's name? Like Danny Almonte?
Danny Almonte.
He was like 19 as a 12-year-old, so I think I could pull that off. I'll just shave my face and no, I don't have hair. Never mind. No, it won't work.
It won't work. Nope.
Thought I could. Here's the most famous Danny Almonte, Little League player.
I mean,
because of
Todd Frazier.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I forgot
What
about
about Monet Davis?
Monet Davis.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I forgot about her. I
AJ,
don't know.
the
Danielle
adult.
Monte's name comes up though because of the scandal. Anyway,
Yes.
all right. In all seriousness, Rowdy, so you signed with the Mariners, okay? You get to camp. Things are going well. Is there communication along the way here the last few weeks? Hey, things are going well. Looks like you're going to make the team. Or is it just you go out, you play, and we'll talk at the end of spring training?
There's been a little communication, like kind of just to keep it up, keep doing what you're doing. We like what we're seeing. I kind of came into camp with got to keep the head down and go. But that part's been fun to be a part of this clubhouse, even though I'm an outsider. Just being a part of this clubhouse and how tight knit they are, like you can see why they're such a good team. But they welcome me with open arms, and I'm just excited that I get the chance to come out there and play with those guys. It's been really fun. It has been, but it is a great group of guys, great staff. Dan is awesome. Very, very knowledgeable. Played the game for a long time. And those are the things that bring comfort to a clubhouse too when you have a guy like that.
Give us the lowdown on the personalities because you're probably making some new friends and then also reuniting with Randy Rosarena, right? You know him.
Yeah, our conversations are pretty stellar. It's more like que paso and all but it's been there. Julio has a very bright personality, always smiling. Um, I've never been around a lot of these guys, so it's been cool. Victor Robles, he's got a very, very good personality. He's very high energy. Another guy that's always happy. And then you got JP, who we committed to college together, and we've known each other for a long time. Miles Mastroboni is another one that I played against growing up. But other than that, man, I don't have a lot of guys that I'd come across. So all this is just new to me. Cal does like to have his poker nights, so I attend those. He's got probably one of the coolest poker tables. It's got his name with his signature in the middle. On the top it says Gold Glove. On the bottom it says Platinum Glove. And so I went over there and I was like, hey man, I know we were gonna play some poker, but we need a new table. You can't just rub it in everybody's face. You're that good. But,
so do you lose your money in poker when you play against him?
I don't know. I go over there with so much money because it's just so. I think I do. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I'm not very good at poker. I'm like one of the guys like. Yeah, have you seen like the Family Guy one where they're like, Peter, you have a really good poker face, and he's like gets good cards and he pulls a sign that says I have really good cards, and like he has a band marching around. That's like me. When I get really good cards, I just smile and I'm like, oh yeah, all in. They're like, okay, I fold. I'm like, why?
Did you hit really well in Did you hit really well in spring training because your live BP was against this pitching staff? And does it make it a lot easier to not have to pitch to face this pitching staff?
Well, let's backtrack there. I didn't have live ABs. My first live AB was in a game, and because I signed late. And yes, I'm going to answer the second one. Yeah, there's a chance I'm going to have a better year just because I don't have to face the Mariners. This staff is absolutely absurd. Watching them and playing behind them this spring has been like a treat. It's like you're kind of just standing there and you're like, oh, hey, you didn't strike somebody out. Hold on, we can make a play out here. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be quick games. You're gonna have all quick games. But do you go into spring training when you got to make a team? Because I've always said if you swing in the first 2 pitches of an at bat in spring training, you're probably going to hit 400. Do you go into spring training with a different approach because you got to make the team and you ain't winning it on sprint speed or anything like that? So it's got to be all that bat.
First off, I scored from second on a single this spring, so my sprint speed is up. But yeah, I swung at the first pitch of camp. I tell you, I didn't hit 400, but I swung at the first pitch of camp and the second one, and then I took the third one for strike 3. That was a nice welcome. That was a nice welcome to camp. But yeah, hold on. I can go first to third. Now the first to homes, that's a stretch. We need somebody to trip and fall. We need a weird ricochet. We need San Francisco, and that might even be a stretch too. But I can move. I'll tell you that. You get the big diesel truck rolling. There's no pulling the Jake brakes on that. We just got to go.
I'm saying AJ beats you in a race right now.
AJ's not even on the screen anymore. Oh, there it is.
I quit.
I don't think he could.
I'll take
I mean,
that.
even that it's a debate means he would beat you. But it's okay.
Yeah.
AJ couldn't have a 900 OPS in spring training right now.
AJ, I'm not gonna say anything. No, don't. Oh, first off, you couldn't even have one when you played, so don't. I was gonna be nice, and then I was gonna be nice, and then you opened your mouth, and that was it.
I didn't say anything. I just said, well, you never know.
And so, what does that mean? You opened your mouth.
Never know. Just never know. But I know I could beat you in a race, especially if it's over 60 yards.
60 yards?
Mm-hmm.
That's a 60-yard. I haven't ran one of those.
That's first to home. If we have to go like 90 yards, that's like first to home.
Really? I didn't know that. Good to know. But I'm not. I'm not going to entertain that. You can have it. You can win. There you go. You win.
Are you guys going to win this year?
Folks.
Yep.
Are the Mariners going to win this year? Because there's so much behind this team. And the narrative is outside of the clubhouse, didn't go out and get anybody. Justin Turner even said, didn't go out and get anybody. They didn't make that big splash to have a historic rotation in bullpen. Are you guys going to win this year? Is there confidence, or is it, hey, you know what? We're going to go out and try our best?
Yeah, I think that we're going to win. Again, we had a really good spring training. I don't think anybody scored more runs than us in spring. We have good bats. We have guys that have put up 30-homer seasons. We have guys that can do a lot of different things. I think everybody here understands who they are as a player. We have depth in our lineup. We have speed at the top, speed at the bottom, power in the middle, guys that can make good contact, great defense, and obviously the pitching staff's unreal. So I think everything's going to fall into place, and we win. I think we do win the division. I think we go deep into the playoffs, and everybody wants to win a World Series, so everybody's pulling at the same end of the rope.
Hey, Rowdy, now that you're in the ballpark that's impossible to hit homers in because everyone says it's impossible to hit homers in, and you have a new hitting coach in Kevin Seitzer who once told me he hates home runs, is this the perfect marriage?
It might be. He might just get me to just hit rockets in the gap and have 40 doubles. But I've really liked working with him and Mags. They've been awesome because they are so different. Seitz is such a mental approach, learn what's going on, and Mags is more of the physical side where he looks at the swing and things like that. So they are like yin and yang, but they work so well together. I mean, they've been together for years, but we've done a lot of things in camp that almost make me feel like what I did when I was younger, kind of like just trusting again. That's the big thing with Seitz is the mental game, getting everybody to trust what they can do best and believe in themselves. Not to mention we have Edgar Martinez working with us, so you can have a Hall of Famer and a guy that hit 330 every year. Can't really not listen to a guy like that.
I heard he's a cage rat too, Edgar.
Yeah.
Talking to some of the hitting coaches
always
from
in the cage. Always in the cage. Always talking baseball. One of the most approachable, easy people to talk to. I mean, it's just like opening up the encyclopedia of hitting, just listening to him. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I just sat there and listened to him talk to somebody else. I'm like, wow, I never would have thought of that.
That's cool. Can you give us one example on your way out here? One thing that you picked up from him?
Just to, with runners in scoring position, he said he made the game easier for himself. All he wanted to do was hit balls up the middle. He said more time than not, ground balls were fine. He goes, he just didn't want to hit a fly ball in the infield. And I asked him, I said, what was, why not? Why didn't you want to just put it in the air with a runner on third less than 2. And he was like, because you do that, you have more room for error. And I said, as a guy that wants to hit fly balls, I said, that's different. Like I would rather hit a fly ball than, hit a ground ball. And he was like, well, go in the game today and try it. So we had runners on first and third, and first pitch was a slider, and I just was like, all right, I'm just going to hit a ground ball up the middle. I ended up hitting the ball in the left center for a double, and I was like, okay. And it wasn't like a hard pitch to hit, but it wasn't an easy pitch, and I kind of came back in. He goes, if you're not trying to hit a fly ball, he goes, you're going to hit a fly ball. And I was like, all right. And he goes, simplicity in your swing. He goes, you're too strong. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then the next at bat, I hit a homer, and I was like, this guy might know something, a thing or two, might have been good.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That's good. I like that.
I'm just
All
proud
right,
that Rowdy listens to somebody. That's all. I'm proud about that.
I listen
found
to everybody but you. I honestly can say from deep down, I respect you, but I've never really liked you. Even when I asked for your autograph when I was a kid and you said no.
Well, I knew it was coming.
Day.
It was foreshadowing.
And I can understand. That made me the player I am today. That's why, I look at people. I'm like, you know what? I am going to sign for that person. I don't want to be an AJ.
Here for you, kid. Here for you.
And that was the lesson. That was the lesson.
Yeah, you only made me better. It's not a negative. I just knew I didn't want bleached hair. By the way, I had bleached hair, not because of you, but I bleached my hair once. Not recently, but
I was gonna say not now. Yeah.
We have a lot of guys in here with bleached hair. I was thinking of getting the bleach tattoo on top and see what people would think when I walk through. But
you should get the visor with the bleach hair hanging out the sides, the fake bleach hair.
Ooh, I might do that. I did that one day. I put on the Rastafarian wig in one of the off seasons, and I said maybe I could pull this off. But then I started running around, and I was out of breath, and it was hot, and I was like, you know what? I don't need hair. Over it.
It is hot. Yes.
No, I don't.
I'm saying his vibe.
I know his vibe, but
yeah.
I'm not as good looking as him because his bank account's gonna be way bigger than mine this year. So that makes him better looking.
That's true. Well, Rowdy, good to talk to you.
Say something stupid, AJ. I know you're trying to think of something over there.
No, I was going to say congratulations on making the team. I'm happy for you. And by the way, so for all the crap you talk about me, who texts you when you sign? So I'd give you the finger, but we're on television. I can't. So
what's crazy is I didn't even have your number saved, and I knew immediately who it was.
Well, see? But I text you and say congratulations, and I'm happy for you. And I'm rooting for you.
And I was like, what does this guy want? Because, mine just says iMessage under it, and I said, "What? There's no way this guy wants something from me right now."
I wanted to wish you well and hope you made the team. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, you were being a good guy. Dude, you're changing in front of my eyes, and I'm proud that I've done this to you.
He just wants you to be happy, Rowdy, and you look happy right now. So
you do.
We'll catch you during the year, okay? Enjoy the meeting. Tell him thank you, and then I'll have a better shirt size for you next time we chat as well, okay?
I think you should go smaller. I think you should get one of the paint-on shirts, like that you just get painted on for a show.
I do like the smaller idea for next time to really troll and bring it. So, all right, fine. Deal. I'll work on it. I don't know about the body paint. That requires something else. But
Video yourself getting called up. Video yourself getting called up and send it to us, and we'll put it on the show later today.
Ooh, yes.
Everyone else, the team's video, screw that. Video yourself. Take your phone in just like this and be like, yes, what did you want to say? Do it.
Yeah,
do it one time in your career.
Well.
It would. It would. Teams do it. So if you can.
Yeah, okay. Teams do it. I'm 30 now. We don't have time for childish games.
Always have time for childish games.
All right, grown up.
Yeah, I'm an adult Rowdy now. So.
well, good luck. You'll let us know how it goes next time. All right? We'll talk.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you. It was fun. Rowdy Tellez, Seattle Mariner, with us, and we'll be right back. If you're on the East Coast, it might be lunchtime for you soon. If you're on the West Coast, maybe you're already thinking about it. But the number one meal kit for eating well is Green Chef. And if like, well, you talk about HelloFresh. Yes, we do. They own Green Chef. So we can talk about both. If anyone's like, why are you talking about it too? Because we can, okay? We can give people multiple options. They're very different. So you can talk about fish, chicken, steak, salads, etc. And you can try it out at a discounted rate. Territory free is the code, 50% off your first box and free salads for 2 months at greenchef.com/territory free.
The whole box is 50% off. The whole box. And then you get 2 months of salads? Come on.
Try to go to the grocery store
You're not touching
and get the same amount of food and make all of that.
Same
Plus, you
quality
have to
of
figure
food,
it
too.
out. And the same quality of food. And let me know how much that ends up costing you. That's why we do it.
Agreed. Good stuff. Good, healthy stuff that you can make at home. It's easy to make. Even Scott can do it when his shirt's too small. He can put his apron on, and only his apron, and make food.
That's true.
Gross.
It's not a pretty sight. But pre-made sauces, pre-portioned ingredients, less prep, okay? Less mess, but you've got the healthy food that you're looking for. So again, check it out. You can use the code territory free, greenchef.com/territory free. Use code territory free for 50% off your first box and free salads for 2 months. That's greenchef.com/territory free. And then you use that code when you check out to get the good stuff. All right, we're back for a minute here, and then we'll return to break and go over some crappy injury
Everyone
news.
needs to mix in a salad. Especially these injuries.
Lance Lynn requote.
That was 2 years
Yeah,
ago,
that was 2 years
right?
ago.
When he was
Well,
called
when
out.
he was still on the White Sox. He was on the White Sox. Steve Stone,
Mhm.
being Steve Stone, said that.
Yep. By the way, Lance, I think, is the last man standing.
Lone
right?
survivor.
Yeah. He is the last
No,
man
well, I
standing.
mean, Rizzo.
Right, or I
Yeah.
meant arms. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, no, there's guys. I mean, Whit Merrifield's not signed yet.
Yeah,
I
which
meant
is
pitchers.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. Ryan Yarborough just signed.
Yeah, but he was with
Yeah,
New
he
York
was
with the-
Yankees.
He was already with the team.
He's got a big league deal.
Right.
That's why you have your opt out at the end of spring training.
Yeah.
You don't like me? Maybe 29 others do.
That's your bargaining chip.
Yep.
Mm. Spring training injuries happen. A lot of them. This one sucks. Shane McClanahan looked like the Shane McClanahan from a couple years ago, but he left his last start. It did not look good. And the news is somewhat positive, it seems, because when you saw that outing and when he was leaving, it looked like it could have been some type of re-tear. But instead, it's an inflamed nerve in his left triceps, according to Kevin Cash. Of all the potential outcomes after he left yesterday's game in pain, Jeff Passan of ESPN said this is perhaps the best case scenario. He will start the season on the IL, but shouldn't miss significant time. So instead, the opening day starter, by the way, will be Ryan Pepio.
Dodger great.
Okay.
It looked bad.
I mean, it looked like he got shot. I mean, seriously, when he walked off the mound, you're like, man, did his arm just explode? Like, what was Dave Dravecki, God forbid, or Tom Browning, I think were the two whose arms like exploded. Remember when they were pitching? And this is great that it's not going to miss a significant time. Now, significant time is what? A few weeks? A few months? I mean, he's going to have to miss a couple weeks at least to start the year, right? So, I don't know. It's good news, but it's bad news because McClanahan's been through so much and he means so much to this team. And if they have any chance in the AL East, they're going to need a healthy Shane McClanahan. So we'll see. But this is, best case, I guess, scenario, best of the worst cases.
Can we go blessing in disguise? Because they weren't going to push him to 160 innings, which is workhorse status. So maybe I just don't see arm injuries that guys don't miss a month. And a month is not significant when you talk about like what it looked like it could have been. At first, I thought maybe it was an oblique because he put his arm straight down and then he like put his hand up on his oblique, but he wasn't going to get all these innings anyway. So maybe there's a little leeway here where he can miss the first month because even if he's out for 2 weeks, 2 weeks, you have to then build back up for 2 weeks, and then you're able to pitch off the mound. So the less time at the beginning of some type of arm injury, the less time at the end of it. So hopefully they can calm this down. Nerves are weird.
My only thing is, AJ, where will the Rays be at that point? I mean, let's say he comes back in a month or two. Hopefully they're in decent shape. I just think the Rays are going to have a lot of things, or at least a good amount of things, go their way to be able to survive the AL East this year. The division looks really damn good.
Agreed. I mean, Yankees, Red Sox are much improved. Baltimore, now we need Gunnar back, and Grayson to come back. But the Orioles are good. The Blue Jays should be better. And the Rays are always the Rays. So it's a tough division. They can't afford many more injuries. The Rays, we know, always survive it. But there comes a point where everyone's depth runs out and keep taking hit. And the Rays didn't go out and do kind of what the Rays have done, which is make trades for younger guys that are controllable, that they can mold into what they want. They were kind of counting on McClanahan and Pepio and some of these other guys to come back, Taj Bradley to take the next step. So we'll see how this affects them. But this is a big blow for the Rays, no matter how long he's out.
Yeah, because, I mean, the offense on paper compared to some other offenses in the division looks maybe a step behind.
I think that's how it always looks.
Yeah.
And then you look up at the end of April, and they have the most wins in Major League Baseball. I mean, it was just 2 years ago that they were first team to 10 wins, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way up to 60 wins.
And then they bombed in the playoffs.
Well, they also started 13-0 that year.
Yep. I mean, they had a head start.
Teams that year.
Oh, right. The games didn't count.
Scott said they didn't play anybody. They didn't play anybody. Remember?
Yeah. Sorry that I have my pillars, AJ. I believe in strength of schedule, no matter what time of year, and it doesn't just go off of the record. Yeah, but they had a lighter schedule at the start of the season, and that can help you. There's some teams that start off the season with a West Coast trip taking on all AL West teams. Like I think the Braves have that coming up this year. So if the Braves start the season 3-6 and people are like, oh, what's wrong with the Braves? It's going to be like, well, they played the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They start with the Padres. I know that.
Right. Padres first, then they go to the Dodgers, and then, so it's two. It's Padres and Dodgers. But my point is, if they start off 2-5, I'm going to be like, I don't care. They're fine. Because of who they played. Just throwing that out there. Okay. Anyway, let's get to the next one on the Dodgers topic. Did you see this with Mookie Betts? I mean, we knew he was sick, and he's given us more information on what's happening. I mean, he can't keep any food down, and it's been a while now. So he's lost 20-plus pounds, I think almost 25 pounds. He's at 157 pounds now because of the illness. So, AJ, I don't know if you ever dealt with some serious stomach issues or whatever at some point in your career, but assuming they figure this out soon, how much do you think it's going to affect him, at least at the start of the season, to be down that much weight? Like 5 pounds, I feel like can be a lot when you're sub 200. 25 pounds?
That's crazy. I'm going to say this because I know it'll make Kratz mad. I've never really dealt with stomach problems, so I can eat stuff, Scott. Unlike you, I can eat all kinds of stuff. It doesn't bother me. But this is weird. This is crazy to me because Mookie can't afford to lose 25 pounds. He's not big enough anyways to afford to lose 25 pounds. And what's also crazy is they haven't diagnosed him with anything. What's wrong? LA's got the best hospitals in the world. We can't figure out what's wrong with this dude. I mean, I know when he was in Japan, they said he had a viral something, but what kind of virus doesn't go away? I mean, this is just crazy to me. And we need Mookie back on the field. I know they won 2-0, but they need Mookie back.
Mm-hmm. I've also never dealt with stomach problems, like iron stomach. So I'm on AJ's, like I talk about it all the time because there's kids on my baseball team at school that like miss 2 practices a week because they're sick. I'm like, I missed 1 game in my career because I was sick. 1 game. And
then this is my specialty.
This is definitely you.
I didn't miss much, but I did have stomach issues for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know enough about his specific medical case, but there could be a billion reasons why there's a problem. There could be a parasite. There could be some type of serious virus. There could be some type of food allergy, whatever. It could be a lot of different things.
But they have so much medical, like
it's still so tough to figure things out. It is.
Yes, but it's so much like everyday people. You're an everyday person who doesn't have a medical team on call. It takes time. Okay, make an appointment. Okay, see a specialist. Do this test. You're talking a month out
Mm-hmm.
at the earliest. They're on it right away, and they still can't figure out what this is.
Right. That's the problem for them. And for the Dodgers, you know how they're going to approach this. They're going to take their time. They are the organization that does that because they kind of look around and say, we're sweet. We're probably going to make the playoffs anyway. All right. Coming up next, Logan O'Hoppe, Angels catcher, joining us, allowed to use his cell phone to join us. Let's finish injury suck here because we won't have time later. Gunnar Henderson officially going to be on the IL to start the year. That sucks, AJ. It sounds like it's going to be more day to day than week to week, according to Mike Elias, who runs the front office. But, he had that side strain from late February, and he's just not ready.
Yeah, it sucks. And by the way, Kratz, I missed 0 days of my career for sickness. Just wanted to throw that out there just because, Mr. I missed one. How'd you miss one? I don't get it. Just go with 0. I played through some serious. I played through some serious car sickness too. Just FYI, as I tell my kids when I don't feel my best. But yeah, this sucks for the Orioles and for Gunnar. It's been a long time. The thing is, that's interesting. I know we're going to get to Kyle Gibson, but we haven't got an update on Grayson in a while either. That's another one. Is he worse than what they're saying? Because they were just like, oh, elbow inflammation. Then they go out and sign Kyle Gibson. So is that a thing? But the Orioles, they need Gunnar. Obviously, they need Grayson. They need both these guys. They need both their G's in there to make them go in a tough AL East.
And one more, Yu Darvish is going to miss the start of the season. We hadn't gotten to that last week. Elbow inflammation for him. So you can see I don't know if there's been an update on the competition, but Kyle Hart, Stephen Kolek, Randy Vasquez, none of them are Yu Darvish.
No, no, they're not. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Padres, what they do. Because I'm out there on Saturday, and we saw Michael King and Dylan Cease 1-2, but then who's going to be that third day? That's going to be an interesting battle for the Padres.
I feel like it's weird, but people are sleeping on them. I know there was some turnover. Yeah, I mean, some power rankings I've looked at have them way down the line in the National League, and I'm like, hold up. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, they lost a lot, though. I mean, I will say that they did. It's not like they brought back their whole team. They did lose some people. Significant.
I'm not saying they're going to be the best team in the NL. I mean, yes, Braves, Phillies, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, maybe, right? There's some other teams that look better. I'm just saying they should be well in the playoff mix. I would be surprised if they're not. I mean, even 2 years ago, obviously, I had the sick team that underperformed, and they missed it. They were in the mix for most of the year. I think they'll be good. And quick update, Grayson is throwing this week, so he resumed flat ground throwing.
That's great. It's great news.
Yeah.
That still means he's like a month. That means he's like a month away from being able to pitch off a mound, though. I mean, that how slow they take it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they said the exact timetable, but probably May or June would be my guess.
Yeah.
All right, Logan O'Hoppe's joining us right now, Angels catcher. We're getting ready for the start of the season. We got to start with this because this topic.
Wait, what?
So much attention.
Oh, sorry. No cell phones. Sorry, Logan. Sorry, no cell phones.
Tell us about it, dude. How you doing?
What a troll.
I'm good, thank you. Good to see you guys. I figured this was going to be the first question that comes up for sure.
I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, come on. I mean, listen, I'm getting destroyed by Angel fans online because they hate me, first of all, and second of all, just because, I beat them. And so then online, they're like, you can't speak on the Angels because we all hate you. So I want to hear from you. What's it like? Because I've never heard of this in any clubhouse I've ever in. Kratz, I'm sure will agree with me that, teams have said like, no, cut the cards out at a certain time or cut the video games out at 6:15 for a 7 o'clock game. But I've never heard of a manager come in and say, dude, we're taking away his cell phones.
Yeah, well, first off, I think, for sure. It came out 3 weeks later than when it was actually applied, the rule. So you guys are all behind on it. We've been loving it. It's been great. It's a decision that we came up with as a group, too, and Wash is the one that came and delivered the message to us. And I think that's something that was lost in the mix. I mean, we've we've had such good conversation with one another and gotten closer. I'm not saying that's all credit to that rule, but it has been awesome in that clubhouse, and we all have gotten tighter. And to be honest with you, I think that this is just another thing to give people to look at the Angels and be like, oh, look at what they're doing, and roll their eyes. And that's the frustrating part about it, because we are doing the right things in there, and it's been awesome so far. And I know I enjoy my time going to the field, and every day that ends, I'm upset because I want to get back and go to the next one.
Was there any of the players that you said you did as a group, any of the players who were like, I kind of want to do this? Because I've been saying it for years that I'd love to have phones out of the clubhouse. They disagreed on the show here, but I just never saw it actually be implemented. So was there anybody that totally was like against this? Like, no, I got to check my Instagram followers after every game.
There was not one dude that was not on board with it. The rule is we just can't have it in the clubhouse. You want to walk outside and shoot off a text, that's totally fine. Even with different things, if you got to shoot off a quick text to a coach or something, like it's not as strict as some people may think. It's just we want to promote conversation and really not just have guys sitting on the phone when we're trying to talk to one another, and it's been awesome so far. So everyone's been on board, everyone's bought in, and we got a good thing going in that room.
How was it before this, right? In comparison, like from what you've observed, and you can go back any time in life, but I mean, you're someone in this age where you've grown up and phones have been such a big part of everyone's life, and not just for phone calls and texts, obviously social media side. So can you kind of walk me through your experience with teammates and phones and how it's been either positive or negative depending on, how much guys are into their phones?
I never noticed an issue with any phones. I do know that this year we're closer than we have been in the past. That's not to say that guys weren't close and didn't hang out and go to dinners in the past, because we did all that. But this year we're just a lot tighter, and it's a lot of fun because it's happening so organically. Like, it's not just that we put this rule in place and now all of a sudden we're closer. That's not it at all. It's been really awesome, and a lot better than the years past as far as how much closer we've all been, and I enjoy the guys. And I think I could speak for everyone else that we've all enjoyed our time together.
I love this. I mean, I know I said it, but I kind of do love this. I love that you guys are trying something different. And the Angels, obviously, we know haven't been the greatest team for the last. You're trying something different, and good for Wash, good for you guys for doing this. How good can the Angels be? Let's get on to real talk here. How good can the Angels be? How good can the Angels be in the AL West, in the AL? Where are the Angels going?
A huge key in my head is now we have even more guys that have been there and done it. We got Trout, we got Kyle, we have Kenley, Georgie's in there now too. We got so many guys that have been there and done it, and we're constantly asking them what it's like, what it takes. And we talk about where we want to be, but we're not. I try to find the right way to describe this. We talk about where we want to be, but we're not so wrapped up in doing that it takes us out of right now. So we've been doing a good job of controlling the moment and winning day by day, and really dominating everything we can. And I know we're excited to get going and play some real games. I know last night in LA, it feels like a real game because you're in that environment. And these games are sick, and it's a good little way to prep for the year going forward. But we are excited to get to play some meaningful games.
Can you pinpoint one thing that you've learned from Travis d'Arnaud that you were like, wish I had known that 2 years ago?
That it's okay to let your personality out in professional settings. I think that's a huge lesson, and that's something that I didn't do so well early on in my career. And then, I mean, anyone that knows Trav knows that he's the same guy on the field, off the field, in separate conversation. So that's a huge lesson that he's taught me, along with the many that I've learned so far. But I love having him around, man.
Wait, so
By the way,
I have a follow-up there.
No,
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to. No, has he introduced you to his brother yet? Have you met Chase yet? Because that dude is a bundle of personality. When I played with him in Atlanta, he used to do pregame concerts in the center field before he would come play for us. And we're like, listen, Chase, this ain't gonna work. So he had to make a decision between baseball and singing. Okay, so has he introduced you to Chase yet?
I have not met Chase yet. I know Trav's probably got some family, I'd assume, coming to the games here at home in the next few weeks, but no, not met him yet. Hope to soon.
Can you elaborate on the personality side? So how were you, and how do you feel like you will be after learning that?
Yeah, coming up in the minor leagues, especially, I always had a picture of what a perfect big leaguer looked like. You know, like you want to be this stoic, buttoned up pro, and I do like to enjoy myself and have some fun around guys and excuse me, around buddies back home and whatever it may be. So not chasing that void anymore has really helped. It was super taxing in the years past. Now that I can look at it from the outside looking in. But now I just feel like a much better version of myself. And that's the same if I'm home on Long Island in the off season or playing in the middle of June or July, you know, so it's pretty liberating and it's felt pretty good so far.
Will we see a difference? Like we in fans, or will just your teammates in the clubhouse, and then when you're out in the field, you'll just be button up, standard Logan O'Hoppe?
No, I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. I think it's more internally in between my ears that I feel the difference. I don't feel like I'm chasing something I can't catch anymore. So I don't know the perfect answer to that. But I know internally it feels much different, and I've enjoyed the game a lot more because of it.
By the way,
All right,
no,
let's
I got to before Scott goes. I got to say, Logan, you should have played with me because I would have told you to be yourself a long time ago. Be what you are. Listen, as somebody that was, called a lot of names, I was what I was, and you know what? That's fine because the world needs a lot of different people in this world to make it go around, right? You have Scott, you have Kratz, we have Logan, and you have me, right? We're all different, but it takes us all, and especially in a clubhouse, you need different people to make you want to come in there every day. You talk about being closer. You know what? So what? You're fine. Be yourself. Be yourself. You want to flip your bat on a home run? Flip your bat. You want to run around the bases, like Mike Trout, and try to do everything perfect because he's unbelievable and he's perfect at everything, right? Be Mike Trout. But he's Mike Trout. I'm not Mike Trout. I can't play like him. He's way better than I ever was. So I agree. Be yourself, enjoy it, and then have the best time because you only get to do this for a short time. So if you walk away and you say, man, I wish I would have had more fun, you're going to look back and say, oh, what did I miss? Don't do that. Always, I'm going to give you this advice. When you walk away, whenever that day is, just make sure you had the best time you could ever have because you're going to be, they say this all the time. I know the Players Association has been around. Tony Clark's line, I'm going to steal it. You're an ex-player a lot longer than you are a current player. So for those whatever years you're playing, dude, enjoy the crap out of it and be yourself. And you know what? If people get mad, screw them. Be yourself because you know what? Someone else will like what you're saying. So who cares?
No doubt. I appreciate that. I've had a lot of coaches tell me things like that in years past, and I always thought I was doing it, and then we go back to Trav. I saw how Trav did, and I was like, all right, that's what that looks like. So I appreciate that and definitely going to keep working on that going forward.
Let's get into your pitching staff. Tell me what you like. What have you seen? Maybe if you want to focus on a guy or two that you've worked a lot with or who looks different or someone new that's entering the mix here. What do you got? What are you catching?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's such a mixed bag too, like we have a lot of guys that aren't the same. TA's the crafty lefty and Kyle's been doing it on the right side forever. And then you got Soriano and Jack that are just throwing bowling balls, and everybody in the bullpen too. It's just such a mixed bag and it's so fun to work with them. I mentioned Jack before, Kahanowitz. He excites me the most. That sinker is unbelievable. And it's pretty similar to Soriano's as well. Sori's sinker is lights out. I mean, he showed that last night against the Dodgers early, but yeah, Jack excites me because he goes about his work the right way and he's so into it and he's really excited to be here and dominate. So looking forward to catching him a ton.
One more exhibition game?
Two more.
Two more exhibition games. How are you going to figure out how to catch Ian Anderson? Like, the guy just got there. Is that a process that is tough to do for a catcher, especially starting catcher? Backups can go, oh, I'll just go down there and, warm them up a couple games and then you figure it out.
I got an easy cop out to this question. I'm going to lean on Trav again. Trav worked with him in Atlanta, so I'm just going to pick Trav's brain and then go about it that way.
That's good.
That's a smart. See, this is a smart guy. This is Long Island guy. See, us Long Island guys are smart. Kratz, we know what we're doing. Okay,
stop. We know what we're doing. Long Island. Don't do that to his town. Don't take it.
What do you mean?
Don't kidnap Chicago. Don't kidnap Long Island. You're an O guy, okay? You live in the landlocked area of Orlando. You don't have a beach. You have Disney. That is the only place that you can claim, okay? That is it. Not his strong island. Continue with your question now.
Okay. By the way, we have SeaWorld and Universal too. Don't forget those. But Logan,
all
what was the guy's name you said? What was his name? Say his name
Who's
again.
that?
The sinker guy.
Jack? So
Yeah.
his last name I butcher all the time. I may have just said it wrong too. Kahanowitz.
What is it? Oh, so we got a good
Kahanowitz.
See, we got a good Polish guy there. See, so he's going to be good. I know he's good. I don't even know what he throws, but I know he's going to be good because he's a Polak, so he's definitely going to be good. But you talk about personalities. I mean, there's some White Sox dudes on there. TA has a personality. Moncada has a personality. Soler has a personality. Where the hell have these guys fit in spring training so far this year?
They've been awesome. They fit in great. TA's been so much fun to be around. He's got a smile on his face every day, and he works his butt off. And same thing with Yo Moncada. He's been great having him around too. These guys work hard, man. And then Soler, I mean, anyone watches him hit, you just kind of stop what you're doing and watch. And if you got earplugs around, you put them in. But those three guys are unbelievable. They fit in perfect, and it's been a joy coming to the park with them, and excited again to play some meaningful games with them in the next couple weeks.
All right, tell us last thing. Tell us what it was like to see your teammate be the bat boy and call a dinger. I mean, he kind of got Trout pumped up there, but he said it. Or maybe you said it. I forgot. I was watching the video. He said, "You kind of look like a bat boy."
That's my guy, man. That is my guy. It was awesome. I didn't remember that he was doing it that day, so I went to dap him up, and I was like, what clubhouse guy is this? And I looked a little closer. He's wearing his sunglasses. I was like, get out of here. This is unbelievable. So I milked it as much as I could for sure. But that's my guy, man. And I love Zach.
Hey, by the way, you guys really want to get him? You should have made him go on the road to do it. You should have made him go like to surprise and do it. Because like at home, like, I probably got to stay for. Did he have to do the whole game, or did he only do like 5 innings and have to quit?
He went until I think when Mike was done, because Mike was the one that put that rule in. I'm not sure entirely. I wasn't in on the fantasy football. I know it's probably another topic of conversation another day, but yeah, as far as I know, that was the rule. But I'm sure Mikey will come up with something, or maybe even Neto will if he wins the next year. Who's to say?
I think it was a college football bet. It was a college football bet. Do you have any idea what Mike was going to have to pay if he won it? Because I know Mike's not being a bat boy. Maybe Mike's got a little extra cash that he was going to give out.
I think, you know what, you're right on it. It was college football. That's how out of the football talks in the clubhouse I am. It was a college football bet with Miami, and I know, I'm not going to give details, but I know that Mike did have to pay a little bit to Zach if he had won. But Mike never loses bets, and it drives everyone crazy. Like I mean, I've bet on other sports, obviously. We'll put that out there. Other sports with Mike, and it's never worked out well for me. And I don't know if I'll be doing it much again in the future. So
they're friendly wagers. They're friendly wagers on things that are not baseball related, and it's all fun. It's no money exchanging hands. It's being bad boy or buying dinner or whatever it is. It's fine. We all did it. Listen, it's coming from the guy who once put $100 in a guy's locker. I told him if he hit a homer off him, I put $100 in his locker. I don't care. Whatever. It's fine. We all do these things, okay? Especially in spring training.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know the season's long enough where the last thing you want to add to your plate is more baseball. So we're going to hockey or whatever else it may be. But yeah, we have a good time in there.
Yeah.
I would bet if I'm betting with Mike Trout right now, like I'll do this. If I lose, you have to give me a membership to your course if you lose. I mean, that's like the go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mike. Like you don't have a course and expect baseball players who get everything for free to not want on it. Just did.
That course is sick, by the way. I don't know if you guys have seen pictures or been down, but whoa.
Oh, yeah.
It's sick.
All right, Logan, when are us Long Island guys going? When are we going to go? When's it open so I can get in? Just call you.
I mean, damn, hopefully when I beat the dude in fantasy football, then maybe we'll get a round there. But I'm sure we'll be down there sooner rather than later.
There you go. Well, Logan, awesome to catch up. Next time we talk to you will be during the season, so have a great opening day and start to the year, and appreciate the time as always. Good to see you, man. We're excited to see what the squad looks like.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Logan O'Hoppe, Angels catcher, with us, and we'll be right back with former, what was he, NLCS MVP? Or ALCS MVP, yep. Andrew Miller. All right, other spring training stuff. The Royals acquired McClanahan from the Brewers for a player to be named later. Yes, on base. That is the key word. Or two. Mitch Haniger was cut by the Mariners. He was owed $15.5 million this season. Remember, that was the Robbie Ray deal where they dumped that contract and said it was going to work out. And then Manny Margot was cut by the Brewers, and he's headed to the Detroit Tigers. I mean, the one that I lock in on is Mitch Haniger because we'll see how Robbie Ray looks this year. If he's healthy, AJ, he's damn good. George Kirby's hurt to start the year. Hey, you do what you got to do. But that was a money dump in my mind. We all kind of felt that way at the time, and that's what it's looking like now.
Yeah, but Mitch Haniger to me was a great Mariner for a few years. Like, he was a guy they were counting on, especially last year, to come back and really hit for him, and he didn't do it. So, I mean, is this how Rowdy got to make the team? Rowdy hurt another guy's feelings so he can make the team? I feel bad for Mitch.
No, that's an outfielder. But if you can have somebody's going to pick up Mitch Haniger for the league minimum.
Yes.
I think the league's minimum's $720 or $735 now.
7 something. Yeah. You can ask Andrew Miller next.
For the league minimum. Yeah, he might know.
Yeah.
I doubt it. But he's doing more important stuff than
Sure.
that. But that's a great right-handed bat that you can add to your lineup. Not, he might not be the all-star that he was, but to me, he's 34 years old this year.
Can I just make the counter just because we're being realistic here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the last couple of years, he hasn't hit.
Okay.
So the last good season was 2022 with Seattle, right? He was not good with San Francisco. Seattle brings him over. And even factoring in ballpark and all that stuff, he was well below league average.
Okay. Here's your two.
And he's 34.
Because this is how teams look at it. We have 2 players who are worth $720,000 to our salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
You're calling up a minor leaguer, or you're going to get Mitch Haniger?
Depends which team. Who's the minor leaguer?
No, that's not the question.
Also, but here's my
question
for me is you mentioned, but I mean, how much do the Mariners owe him?
15.5 apparently.
Yeah.
So they just have 15.5 they can just give away? See what I'm saying? Like, remember they were talking about we don't have any money, but there's 15.5 that's just going out the window for nothing. I mean, I'm sure they tried to trade him.
Yeah, they offset it with the Ray deal, but also, AJ, I mean, they clearly said this bat doesn't look like it's going to be good enough.
Yeah.
Former big league pitcher Andrew Miller is with us. Good to see you, Andrew. Great to have you on. Also, obviously, working with the Players Association now as a special assistant for strategic initiatives. So we're definitely going to talk biz today too, Andrew. How's the gig been for you? Because you hop off the mound, right? And now you're making big moves here off the field.
I don't know about big moves. Yeah, it's been great. I really enjoy it. I have such an appreciation for this organization, which I'm sure Erik and AJ would say the same. And it gives me something to do. It allows me to stay in touch with the game, a reason to turn on a game every night. And I'm just, so far really, enjoying it. And, I get to work with fun people and work on the right side of the cause as far as I'm concerned.
You got a team now? Because nobody ever has a team when they're playing, and you played for all of them. So you have a team now
Yeah.
that you're like, I can really lock into that team, because you can't turn on the game and watch all of them.
No, it's tough. Certainly root for, old buddies and, guys that like, my son, he plays the show and he watches all of it. And, I think Jazz Chisholm would be his favorite player if you asked him right now. But no, just any ball game. I want good games in the playoffs. I don't want to see any blowouts. I want long series. And, as far as pulling for one team or, wearing any team's merch, that's not really happening.
Andrew, before we get into the business side of the MLBPA, I have to ask this. We need to go to a foreshot here because Kratz always has this thing that people from Florida are stupid, and you're from where? I just want to establish this before we dig in here. We're from where?
I'm born and raised in Gainesville, Florida.
Oh, so Kratz says all people from Florida are stupid. So how if stupid people get a job like you have? I don't get it. I mean, all Kratz says, Florida people, hillbillies and stupid. Kratz, we can't be hillbillies. We don't have any hills. We got to be rednecks because we ain't got any hills.
Town. Just remind them.
Yes.
Also, it's where, yes, but for some reason, Andrew did not go to University of Florida. He couldn't get in, so he went to North Carolina.
That's one way to look at it.
His grades were so good in Florida that he went out of state to a prestigious school in North Carolina.
We didn't go to Duke. I mean, he went to North Carolina. See the difference? Florida,
let's not
Duke,
talk about
North
that.
Carolina.
Come on, AJ.
Are we just talking basketball? Or are we talking?
I should have known better getting on this, and AJ is going to be there just poking the bear.
All right, so then let's start here, okay? So you went to a bunch of spring training camps, right? And you're chatting with players. Tell us about your role and also what you're hearing, right? We just want to get the straight shooter comments here on this show like we always do. So what are players saying? What do they love? What do they hate?
Yeah, so we saw all 30 clubs, and for me, I'm just kind of fitting in the background. I'm trying to, use my relationships of guys that are still playing, guys that know me, and be able to open the door and just share and give them as much information as possible. I think that's our role, is to just educate guys. I think there can be a lot of information out there that, maybe something sounds good and we have a reason why we have a different position. We just have to share that, and I think the more we can do that, the better we'll be, because this is a big CBA coming up. Obviously, you don't really like to be talking about it 2 years out. I think we can, thank the commissioner for bringing it up, and we have a game that's thriving. We have such, probably as many stars as I've ever seen in the game. It's just so much fun to watch. They're talking about how much money they're making, how great everything is. And yet, we see, kind of, little snippets from the league saying that this is going to be a battle and they're going to come for, changes, or they need to do this or do that. So we have to get ahead of it. We have to educate guys and make sure they have answers. So that has been good. I think for us on the tour, we kind of do a little bit of a recap on, okay, what happened in the last negotiation? What do we see going on in the game? What do we think we could have, gone further on? What has worked, what hasn't, type of stuff. And then, unfortunately, spend a lot of time talking about the salary cap because, again, what we're hearing from the league. So we have, great resources in the sense that we can look at the other leagues that have that, and we can see what has worked and what hasn't. And we can see, maybe instances where, they were sold something that didn't go in the player's favor or the fans' favor. And that's, ultimately, I think if you talk to any player, they're gonna say they just want their team to compete. And I think it's pretty tough pill to swallow when you hear teams say, "Hey, we're not going for it this year. We don't think we have a chance, or we're doing this or doing that," and it's not in line with going out and winning every game you possibly can.
Is there any closer to? Are we any closer to like being able to push the owners to be competitive, in the sense of how can they be as competitive as we were as players, since we don't, or the current players are right now?
Yeah, I think, we're constantly trying to address it. I'm sure you guys remember from, CBAs when you were coming up, but I think we made some pretty good progress in the last deal. And, I think part of that, some of it we've seen in, the lottery. I think that the idea that you can go out there and intentionally basically be the worst team in baseball and end up with, the best player in the draft, especially, you saw what worked in Houston, you saw what worked in Washington, to be able to get, Strasburg and Harper and that type of stuff, to be able to take that factor away from teams has been incredibly helpful. Another thing that we were able to accomplish was, we wish we could have gone further, but, address the service time manipulation. We saw such an obvious case with Kris Bryant, and the fact that you have teams out there saying, we have players that we think should be starting for us at the major league level, but we have an ability to not only affect their career, but also affect our chance to go out and win the first, however many games it is until you get past arbitration, or until you get past, another year of, basically 7 years till free agency, by manipulating it. And, we saw with Paul Skeens, he took advantage of the new system we have in place, and he got a full year of service for his dominance last year. So I think those little factors are taking a little bit of or actually a lot of the opportunity for teams to go out there and really kind of manipulate that and take it to their advantage at the cost of players and fans.
Andrew, when you hear teams talk salary cap, commissioner's been on his media tour saying salary cap, salary cap. The Orioles' new owners come out, salary cap, salary cap. Can you explain to the casual fan what that means? And why is the commissioner fighting this fight in the media? Like, this is something new that I haven't really seen them do. It's always been like, nobody talk about it, nobody talk about it. But now you hear like, lockout, 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 because we want a cap. So explain what a cap would mean, and then how can the Players Association combat Rob Manfred and his people out there all the time saying the same thing?
Yeah, I think the easiest thing we can do is we can look at other leagues. But yeah, I mean, a salary cap, honestly, just straightforward, it's a chance for the owners to limit their labor cost. And it, the fact that they're going to come out and sell that as competitive balance, they're going to sell that as, your tickets and your hot dog are going to be cheaper, or that, this is going to bring labor peace, or that this is better for the players in the long term. I think, we can very easily kind of disprove those notions. And, I don't know, let's start with competitive balance. I think that, we had a phenomenal World Series between two high payrolls and two large cities last year. And that was exciting, right? And we had probably the two biggest stars the game has seen in quite a while on the field. And yeah, it was a little bit of a shorter series, but the league was raving about that. The numbers of people that tuned in was phenomenal. But what about the year before? We had the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. So it can be done. I think that we have things in our system that address that. We have revenue sharing. And, the fact that, the Dodgers are the big boogeyman right now that went out and they spent all this money and they're such a fun team to play for, and they're doing all this stuff, and they can go out and get Ohtani and they can get this guy and that guy. Well, first of all, every team has the ability to sign those guys, but ultimately the Dodgers have won 2 World Series in 40 years. The Mets have, Soto and all these guys. They've won, I don't think, any since '86. The Yankees that are, always the what do they call them? The dark side or whatever, the imperial forces, they haven't really had a stretch where they've dominated since that mid '90s, late '90s run. So the fact that, we have some sort of dynasty out there because of, no salary cap is just completely false. And in other leagues, you see things like the Patriots and the Chiefs. You see what the run that the Warriors went on. The Lightning here, I live in Tampa locally in NHL. So it hasn't solved that problem in those leagues.
Do the players have a reaction to the Dodgers stuff? Because we get all the time, in our comments and stuff about our show, you guys are pro Dodgers. The league just wants Dodgers to win. Is the same sentiment there from the players? Like, that's not fair.
Quite the opposite, honestly. I think, it can't be summed up any better than, Brent Rooker came out, somebody in the media came up to him and said, "Hey, what do you think about this? The Dodgers, they just get everybody, they're going to walk away with this." And I think his comment, to paraphrase, was that, when teams sign players, that's good for players and that's good for the game. And, as a fan, you want to see, when you open the paper, you open up the blog every morning, that your team is in on this player. Your team's trying to improve. Your team thinks they can go out and get this piece to make them a World Series contender, to take them from getting in the playoffs to winning the playoffs. I think that is good for baseball. That is interest. I mean, we love having good off seasons, and the fact that, you can take a bunch of teams out of the factor immediately because their GM or their president or their owner is saying, "Hey, we're just not going to do it this year." That's bad for baseball. So the Dodgers going out and signing guys is great. I think, maybe not everybody can sign the Ohtani deal. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe they don't think they can work a whole team around that, but everybody can sign Kirby Yates. Everybody can use Kirby Yates in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning of a playoff series and be better for it. So I don't think that they have, any huge advantage in the sense that, they're doing something nobody else can do. Everybody can go out there and compete if they'd like, just like the Dodgers.
Andrew, how do you solve the issues of some of the bottom feeders, right? And occasionally they'll emerge, but we know some of the teams that stand out. There's a really good story on the Pirates last week, and we sorted through it and did a segment on it. Dick Monfort, the Rockies owner, recently came out and said, "I want a cap and I want someone else to pay the money for me." So I'm like, okay, cool. So you believe in a world where, everybody gets the same exact piece of bread. That there's a word for that you probably don't like, okay? That hasn't done well in politics. But anyway, how do you solve that? Because you can't kick owners out, but there are repeat offenders that are hurting the sport, and I think causing this conversation to be like, hey, let's take down those big teams and those big boys that actually give a crap, because we have to help the same group that's always complaining and never doing anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you summed it up pretty well in the sense that their goal is not to push teams up from the bottom, or honestly to even it out. What they want to do is they want to pull the teams down from the top. They want to put restraints on the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Mets, whoever it may be. And they don't want that money to fully go back to the bottom teams and even out. They're just looking for a way to spend as little as they possibly can on players and put more money in their pocket, which they're businessmen. We understand that these guys are billionaires for a reason, right? I mean, they're not stupid business people. But yeah, as far as addressing that, I think, like I said, we've done a few things. We want to go further. The most obvious is, working on revenue sharing, and the league has been very difficult. And if to be completely blunt, they've said no, a lot of times, that this is not something they'll touch. It's too politically, motivated on their end. They just don't get the votes, whatever it may be. But we have ideas, and we're going to work on that. And that's what we're sharing with players. And that's what we're going to spend the next 2 years trying to figure out what are ways that are win-wins for everybody. We, again, going back to the players want to win. Players want the game to be as great as possible. We all grew up loving this game. A lot of us now have kids that, play the show, turn on the game every night, watch the recaps in the morning. That's what my son does. He comes downstairs, he turns the recaps on and sees what happens. And, we have ways to address that are not a cap. And, again, the cap is going to be Rob's cure for everything. Everything that's going to come out is he's going to say, well, if we had a cap, we could fix this, we could fix that. The problem is, again, we have all this data from other leagues that doesn't work. And, again, we hate talking about this. This is not something that is good for the game to be talking about, unsettled labor issues. And, I think one of the things Rob's going to say on that point is that, hey, if we have a cap, we can all, get along and we'll find a way to just, keep rolling over and we'll create revenue. But look at other leagues. They get locked out all the time. And what they do is they get you in, and then they, once they've got you in the system, they've got you there forever, and they're going to sit there and they're going to chip away at it and make it worse and worse. We've seen it in other leagues. And, this idea that, baseball hasn't missed a game since 94. Other leagues have all, missed games or had extended lockouts in order to go chip away at what the players are making.
When your son plays the show and his team that he buys is the Marlins, does he have to go and pick practice players up at Home Depot or the corner to – I mean, obviously all that came out while you guys were on your tour for spring training. How are you guys – how does the Players Association handle that, and what did you think about it when you saw it?
Well, the headline was pretty shocking. I didn't know what to make of it. But as far as how we handle it, we have a team of great lawyers that deal with all that stuff. That's way above my head. Ultimately, I think that got shut down pretty quick. And, there's a lot of things like that. The Marlins are kind of on an island. They're pretty unique in the ways that they try to game the system or not play in the same system as everybody else, for what it's worth. But I think that was shot down pretty quick. But, yeah, I think, ultimately, we have to have people on staff, and we have to have all these bright people that know what they're doing. And we have consultants and outside, lawyers and all these people that fit into it that address these issues when they arise. And I think that one was a perfect example of, using that to get something like that shut down pretty quick.
Andrew, you had a pretty good run as a reliever. You sucked as a starter, but you were a pretty good reliever. What is that your behind you? What trophy is that? What trophies do you have behind you?
I've got ALCS MVP, which I believe it said on the bottom there earlier, which is pretty cool. And it's an Eagle. I have the Roger Clemens Award, which is a college pitching award. That's this one. And then over here on the edge is the Reliever of the Year, which is a pretty cool trophy. But I missed out on getting the big tuba Rolaids that they had in the 80s and the 90s. So very proud of those. But, yeah, I mean, to your point, AJ, I was a pretty terrible starter. I think you got a couple of hits off of me in Chicago when I first came up. I don't know if any of them –
that story.
I don't know if any of them were anywhere near the barrel, let alone out of the infield. So we'll have to go back.
Doesn't matter. So I want to tell – I think I told you this story in Kratz. Let's bring Kratz on for this because he'll love this story. So he was starter with the Tigers. I think you were the Tigers. He came up, right? And he was a lefty, and he was throwing like a million from like down here. And he's like, people that don't know, Andrew Miller's like 6'7". How big are you, 6'7"?
Yeah.
And he throws from like way out here, right? And so it was 2007, I think you were a starter. And he comes in, and Ozzie comes up to Erstad and I and goes, hey, you guys got to play. And we're like, against that dude that can't throw a strike? And he literally is going to throw it all over the place. And he's like, yeah, you guys will be good. He goes, lefties are like 0 for 37 off them this year. I'm like, oh, great. Thanks, Ozzie. So you want us to fail, right? So Erstad, I think, first at bat hits a chopper off the plate, gets a hit. My first at bat, he throws me a heater in. I swing. It literally hit me in the knuckle, right? And it went about 4 feet foul. And I literally go, I don't want to act like it hurts because Pudge was catching. And I'm like, if I act like it hurts, he's going to, and I was like, oh man, I just missed it. And I was like, oh my God, I think I broke my finger. And so Andrew throws me a slider and I literally am like, ugh. And I like throw it over the third baseman's head. It literally barely gets to the outfield. And I'm like, yes, suck on it, Ozzie. Erstad and I both got a hit off of it, right? And then the next at bat, I think I hit one literally that went about 14 feet down the third baseline for a knock. And I was like, 2 for 2. Yes, we own this guy. And then I proceeded to never get a hit off him again. But yes, he threw a ball that I swung at, hit me in the knuckle.
You have a very particular memory of that.
Oh, because
I was never able to face you as a starter, but I swore that your slider, you could have put your slider on a machine, and I would have stayed out there for an entire day swinging at it, and I would have never gotten a hit. You struck me out 3 times in the 3 at-bats, and it wasn't even close. I remember looking out one time and looking at you and then looking at McCann, and McCann was just like, like, just not even close.
You caught me in my glory days. You missed out on the chance that AJ had to have something to hold over my head.
Yeah. I don't know if that I'm holding it over your head or not, but one of my favorite teammates by far. Oh, we lost him. He got a phone call, but one of my favorite teammates, Andrew Miller, of all time. He was awesome.
He was the easiest. He was the easiest to warm up in spring training. It's the only time we played together. We were in spring training with the Guardians together, and he would throw literally 4 pitches, and then he'd just go pitch to pitch with the pitcher as he was waiting to go in. You know, spring training usually go clean inning, but he was not wasting any bullets. Other dudes are down there. They're trying to make the team. They're throwing 30, 40 pitches, and you're like,
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
He was pro.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I think, is he back? Andrew, are you back? Otherwise, we'll just say bye automatically.
We'll text him.
Okay, we'll text him, but we got to go anyway, timing-wise. But that was awesome. Great to have Andrew on. Great to reminisce. And we'll chat with him again at some point this year, too. All right, FT fam, be right back. Hey, congrats to Kristian Campbell, who is the Baseball American #4 overall prospect in the sport. He made the Boston Red Sox. That's awesome. Super excited for him. And it actually plays to what Andrew was just saying, AJ. The service time manipulation game might turn into Kristian Campbell, obviously getting the opening day nod and playing throughout the season, but also could turn into an extra first-ish round pick for the Red Sox if he becomes a star in season 1.
Agreed. This was the question. Remember going into spring training, and I thought Devers would stick at third base. I was wrong, right? But Kristian Campbell put his way onto the team. Bregman's at third. Devers is going to DH. Casas at first. Listen, if Campbell can hit the way they say he can hit and do the things he can do, this is a huge plus for the Red Sox. And I love when young guys get the opportunity, especially on a team like Boston, because they have veteran guys around him to make it easier of a transition for him into the Boston market. I love this, and I love what the Red Sox are doing, and I hope he has a great year because you know why I want him to have a great year? Because of what you just said, Scott. It incentivizes teams to have these guys come up at a younger age and get an opportunity and give them an opportunity because guess what? It helps them in the long run.
Red Sox, let them play. You had a second baseman come up a few years ago that struggled the first month and ended up being a Red Sox Hall of Famer in Dustin Pedroia. So I'm not saying they're the same player. Just let them play. You're in a big pressure cooker. It might be a little tough. You know, he might have a blip in the road learning the big leagues. But you know who said this? This might be your BetMGM lock of the year guy. Pap said it. Pap said Kristian Campbell's making this team out of camp.
I did.
We don't care.
I said it. I fought.
You know what I love, though?
Like,
guess what else he did?
Lineup.
Remember, what did I keep saying the Red Sox needed? What did I keep saying? They needed right-handed power. Guess what they got?
Yes.
Bregman and Kristian Campbell. They got 2 right-handed hitters, right? That's what they needed. They found them. And this is a guy, I'm telling you right now, this is a guy, everyone's talking about Meyer and Roman Anthony is the other guy, right? That they were left-handed guys. When I talked to Alex Cora last year, he said, watch out for Kristian Campbell because he can play the infield and he's right-handed and we need right-handed bats.
Great athlete. He can play the outfield too if need be. And he soared through the minors last year. They did a lot of mechanical work with him to get much better. And it was a steal of a move. I'm sure it was Chaim Bloom during his time, right?
It was.
Yep, it was. He was a 4th or 5th round pick. That's not 4th round out of Georgia Tech in 2023. Nailed it.
But Chaim sucked at his job, remember?
Hot corner time. Alejandro Kirk got an extension. Extension season. We'll tand them out. Let's start with Kirk because we have two catchers on this show. 5 years, $58 million. The deal includes a $6 million signing bonus for Kirk. And this starts next year. This year, the money is already locked in for him. So they didn't rip it up and start again. He's making $4.6 million this year and then just signed this up over the weekend. It'll take him through the 2030 season. There's no options involved on either side. He would have been a free agent soon after 2026. Now he's not a free agent until after his age 31 season. And AJ, he's the guy. Danny Jansen, he gone. Obviously, they traded Gabriel Moreno years back, and he's been pretty much a star for Arizona. Last year, Kirk had a 94 OPS plus in 103 games. StatCast has him as one of the better framing catchers, so they like his defense. What do we think about this one?
Well, good for Alejandro. First of all, let me say that. Good for him. It's weird when you look at these numbers. It's hard to quantify. Kratz could maybe speak on this a little bit better than I can. But, I mean, framing is getting him paid because his offense the last 2 years hasn't been that great. They said now he's finally going to get to play every day. What the heck was he doing in 2022 when he had 541 at bats, right? I mean, 123 in 103 games. I mean, that's playing pretty much every day. So I don't understand that, but good for him. He got paid. I don't know. I mean, good for Kirk. And to me, this just seems like, I don't know they needed to do this. I think they could have waited another year if you're the Blue Jays, but Ross Atkins and Shapiro have been on the hot seat for not signing Vlad. So they're like, hey, we signed an extension. Oh, wait, it wasn't Vlad. It was for Alejandro Kirk. But congratulations, Alejandro. Get every dollar you can.
Grab the headlines. Blue Jays extend. Blue Jay prospect. Oh, wait. No, not Vlad. But
not a prospect. I mean, he's been in the mix for a minute.
No, but I'm saying somebody that was with the organization.
Yes.
Homegrown talent. Signs extension for Blue Jays. Womp womp. Not Vladdy. Anyway, yes, the framing metrics are definitely there. It's something that he was not very good at early, even in his All-Star season. His All-Star season was because he was raking. He has not raked the last 2 years, but he's elevated his WAR. He's elevated his value based on that framing. Unfortunately, you can go and get elite framing for much less than this. So for Alejandro, this is tremendous. My guy's locking in. You don't know what's going to happen, especially at a catching position. Shortstops, they age fine. Shortstops that don't steal a ton of bases, they age fine. Catchers, you can't just fall into playing games. To me, the catching position, unfortunately for catchers, teams have been able to find value there in the WAR and wins above replacement area. Look at Kyle Higashioka getting a contract to pair with Jonah Heim. Jonah Heim's one of the best receiving catchers in the game. They have a lot of value there, a lot of value to the team, but also at a low price. Maybe the Jays overpaid a little bit here.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. What happens when ABS comes in? What happens when ABS comes in next year and you don't have that framing, like Cal Raleigh is 9 for 9, I think. Every time Cal Raleigh goes like this, you just know it's going to be the opposite of what the umpire says. So what happens next year when ABS comes in? Because you can say they're not doing it. They're doing it. We should have asked Andrew Miller. Because guess what? Next year we're going to have ABS, right? So does this take away the value of what Kirk has brought to the table?
That was going to be my other point, was that might not be – now the value is not going to be completely gone. We're not going robo umpires. The value is still going to be there because there's, two arguments, 3 challenges, whatever it's going to be. You do have to make sure the umpire's still getting it wrong and the team has to challenge it. So there's still value there, but that value is going to go way down and the value in blocking is going to be there.
Sure. Okay. But you're getting the prime years of a guy who even last year, for example, not a great offensive season, but he was close to league average on OPS plus. And for a catcher, that's above average because most catchers, they're probably, I think the average is probably in the 80s or something like that for OPS plus for catchers.
But again, if the ABS comes in, when the ABS comes in, you're going to have different types of players coming behind the dish.
A little more offense. But my only point here on Kirk is we did see it a couple years ago, AJ, and at least some of the scouting reports lately are front office darling because he hits the ball hard. He does make contact. Too many ground balls. That's like the simplistic write-up that you'll see from some fans, right? Where's the slug? Well, he's got to get more lift on it. And you see this a lot with players. Sometimes it does actually blossom. And in spring training, apparently it's been better this year. And sometimes it doesn't. And the dude never gets off the ground ball ways. But I mean, wasn't Kristian Yelich obviously a very different player, but wasn't he a guy who had ground ball city, but it was a contact, he hit the ball hard, and then all of a sudden he went from really good to superstar.
Yeah. He started driving the ball in the air.
Yeah, poster boy for that. But I'm just saying, could that happen with someone like this who hasn't completely figured out his offensive profile? Not Yelich, but I get that. But I'm saying, is there more in the tank here where this could be more of a 450 slugger?
They hope so.
Always believe it.
So. The Blue Jays hope so. That's why they signed him to this deal.
He's only 26.
Yeah, of course. He's young.
Yep.
He came up super young, too. Don't forget. He kind of came out of nowhere, if you remember, right? So, I don't know. Listen, I'm happy for the guy. I'm always happy for players when they get money. We just had Andrew Miller on, who works for we're pro-union, we're pro-player, so I'm all for players getting more.
No, but I respect you guys for putting that out there. You're like, hey, I don't know. We'll see. It's not like it necessarily looks like a bargain. That's fine. All right, swinging back with news from a Friday news dump, but we got to talk about it. Julio Urias gets suspended for a while. We'll cover that next. BetMGM futures, you can put a little cash on comeback player of the year. So I'll read it out real quick for the podcast crowd listening later. Ronald Acuna Jr. is at plus 250. Spencer Strider plus 400. This is the NL, obviously. Sandy Alcantara plus 450. Matt McClain plus 550. Brandon Woodruff plus 650. What do we like?
I love Matt McClain there. I can't go Alcantara.
Why?
Because he might not be in the National League at the end of the year, and
players.
But he might. This is a player-voted thing. Players, you gotta go with the biggest name. So it's either Acuna or Strider.
Alcantara could win it, AJ, because he's going to give you a full season. So if he's a top 5 Cy Young guy, doesn't he win it?
I was going to say Strider to me is the one that stands out. Acuna to me, they're going to play him slow. He's not going to steal as many bases. He's already come out and said that. So I feel like Strider, once he comes back, is going to be full go, and that dude is filthy when he's full go. So I feel like Strider is the easy pick here. Alcantara is probably the best odds, or McClain, because McClain's going to get to play every day on a team that is could surprise some people in the red. So I just feel like Strider is your best bet. But there's some other options. This is a tough one because there's a lot of options that are good on this, which sucks because that means there was a lot of people that missed significant time.
Stars that missed significant time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, it's going to be Acuna or Strider.
I like Alcantara value-wise, plus 450. He's going to pitch the whole season. He's in Miami. And, yeah, he might be pitching for a new team, but there's a 50-50 chance that he's in the National League. And then he could win that NL Comeback Player of the Year. I
remember dudes we're like, when we were filling out Comeback Player of the Year as part of, the awards that you write out. Somebody goes, well, who'd you pick? And I was like, I forget who it was that year, but they were like, oh, I picked Matt Kemp. I'm like, Matt Kemp had the exact same year he had the year before. Like, why'd you pick Matt Kemp? He goes, well, that's what those guys were putting down. And I'm like,
I think they're just part of the vote. I don't know for a fact, but I think there's a few people involved. I don't think it's I think the league's involved too. But anyway, bonus code FOUL, FOUL, betmgm.com, or on the app. Sign up, get yourself a new account, deposit at least $10 into that new account. Obviously, March Madness is wild right now, so if you want to get involved there, place a wager up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that first wager loses. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Be right back. All right, we're back. Let's first talk about news from Friday, which is going to come out on a Friday night. That is when you put out the stuff that you don't want to get covered a ton, but we're going to still give it a little bit of time right now. Julio Urias was arrested, on September 6, 2023, placed on an admin leave. This is not the first domestic violence incident for him either. So the league came out and announced that he has been suspended through the 2025 All-Star break for violating the joint domestic violence policy. Okay. So he is technically able to sign with the team after the All-Star break. We're not going to talk much about the case. Obviously, this is a problem. This is awful. We don't condone any of this crap. My question for you guys is, do you think he will ever play Major League Baseball again? Will a team sign this guy? I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think anyone's going to sign him.
And this is not a knock on him personally. I don't know enough about the case, but I just don't think they will. We've seen the precedent already set with another guy that everyone begs. Why is so and so not? I mean, the guy's over pitching in Japan right now. Everyone's like, why is so and so not pitching? I'm not even going to say his name because people are going to go crazy. So, yeah, I just think the precedent is there. I don't think this is a tough. It sucks. I don't know all the logistics of the case, but I'm going to say no.
Said two issues. I just don't think a team's going to be like, yeah, we're going to give another chance here.
I'm all about forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to show a willingness to change, something that is different. This is serious stuff. Not even knowing anything about the cases. It's serious stuff, and it's not just willy-nilly. The league's like, oh, well, we'll just hand it out here and not there. Like, I love that they set a precedent and that they continue to set that precedent and they continue to keep it. Yes, I know it doesn't look like a long enough suspension but I just don't see how he gets back in without some serious forgiveness.
People can say whatever they want. Oh, well, you can't prevent him from playing. Sure. But these are teams that are, you mentioned it last week, it's Monopoly, teams that are run by essentially one person per team, right? There's a control that runs each team. They don't have to sign anybody. There could be one player that just genuinely pisses them off in life, or one player that was mean to an owner and they go, that's my freaking toy. I ain't signing him. So it makes sense. So if you're going to complain about anything with him or Bauer or anybody else, then ask each individual owner, tell them to speak to the public and ask them why they won't sign them, because it's their choice. And let me tell you, if it was me, I'm the same way. I'm not signing him. Case by case, some guys go through crap and then you go, okay, I feel like you mentioned, this guy has learned his lesson from that particular situation. In this domestic violence situation, multiple offender, sorry, I don't even need to read that much into it. I'm out. Not for me. And guess what? Most of the league's doing the same thing. Not worth the crap that I will have to deal with, obviously, publicly, and I don't like it. I don't like what's been done. It's happened multiple times. So there you go. Other guys, they'll weigh. You guys tell me.
Hold on. Let me ask this, though.
Yeah.
There's certain people that have done things and they're still playing. That's why there's a lot of people in the chat and in general that are like, why does this guy still play and this guy still play, but these other guys not get to play? Well, I mean, that's, again, we don't know all the specifics of the case, so I can't answer that. So when people say, why is this guy playing and this guy not, I don't know. It's not my team. I don't get to choose it. I'm just going off precedent. When I say I don't think he'll ever play again, I'm just going off past precedent that's been set. Guys that have been suspended for this type of stuff haven't usually come back.
And maybe I'm naive, but I trust that the investigations that they do are thorough. What exactly went into the situation? And you know what? People can call me naive for believing in that, but there is the degrees to what happens, and somebody has to make the decision. It's not just a blanket. It's not a blanket statement, but Major League Baseball is drawing a line. And there's been other times where non-domestic violence stuff, guys have been blackballed from being signed back by any team. Looking at the numbers from the year before, you're like, how is this guy not? I get it. He's he can be a problem or whatever, but how does this guy not have a team? This is Major League Baseball. This is not everybody gets the same chances, whether that's fair or unfair. To me, I think Major League Baseball did the right thing here.
But also, AJ, I just think there are thresholds, right? Sometimes there's a player who's super annoying and bad in the clubhouse or gets in trouble all the time, right? And then they're like,
just because they're super annoying, they can't be signed. I mean,
no. I'm not going to start calling out names, but my point is there are players. You know what I'm saying, right? Like, and even there are sometimes players who get in trouble, and then people are like, I don't understand why he's not playing again. And I'm like, well, maybe there's more to it. Not even just the case. Maybe teammates were sick of this person. Maybe this person was a problem in the clubhouse, and they're like, okay, we're going to add this up. He's just okay. He's gotten in trouble, and he's a problem anyway. So they do the math, and they say, I'm done. So that's all there is to it. Not every single player in the league is perfect and has never gotten in any trouble. And also, I don't necessarily agree with every player that's been on a team or not. So anyway, it's an interesting story, but it's also one where after the All-Star break, if a team wants to sign him, that's their right. True. But it wouldn't be my decision. And I just, from knowing the league, don't think anyone's going to sign him. Just my thought. That's the prediction.
I mean, look at the guy we talked about, the Blue Jays, Ozuna, right? When he went to Houston, he had his problems, right? All the problems that caused within the clubhouse and the front office. I mean, right? And the media, I think teams look at past precedents, and it sucks for the players. But listen, none of us are saints. All right, let's establish that. So none of us are perfect. So we all make mistakes, and we are about forgiveness. But at the same time, teams make these decisions, and we can't control them at all.
Yep. Also, there are different levels of mistakes. That's part of this here too. So anyway, be right back. We'll go to Slap Hands. We'll try to cover a few things that we haven't gotten to yet. All right, we're back. An extension that we'll do right now for 3 minutes since we didn't have time earlier. Justin Martinez, who has an electric arm. 5 years, $18 million, 2 options for $7 million in 2030, $9 million in 2031. So it could be as much as 7 years, $39 million. I mean, he's early in his service time, so he gets the guaranteed money as a reliever. And AJ, I haven't read a ton into this, but my guess is that this makes both sides happy because of the way that saves are a mess with arbitration right now. Look at the Kyle Finnegan case, right? It's like, yes, in arbitration, it matters more about your saves, where in real life, it matters more about your stuff and if you're a high leverage guy. So now the Diamondbacks can use him as their closer for years, and it's cost controlled. And on his side, he gets the guaranteed money. I think this is awesome.
And there's nothing more volatile than relievers. Yes, you have your ones that are really good. Those are the ones that get super paid. But if you look at numbers of relievers, a lot of guys go like this. Ooh, good year, bad year, good year, bad year. Even Andrew Miller we had really good years and then had some mediocre years, but then he had really good years, right? So nothing is more volatile probably than a reliever. And it's freedom for him. It's freedom for the Diamondbacks. They know what they're going to pay this guy. And it's freedom for Justin Martinez because he goes out there and he can pitch. He's like, yes, I have this much money in the bank and I can just go out and throw $1 billion.
No worries. No worries. You don't know if a guy is going to become a Brian Shaw who can pitch 72, 78 appearances a year for 6 straight years and make it to free agency. Yeah, those guys get paid big salaries. That's very few and far between. You don't know if you're going to stay healthy. Good for him. He's young. That's a lot of money. And now he can go out and be a closer that if at the end of this contract, yes, he's going to have left a lot of money on the table. If he's that closer, 35 saves a year, he's going to get paid.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, it's a win. And for the Diamondbacks, if you're watching them, you're going to see a lot of this guy. Oof. A lot.
Something they didn't even really have.
Nasty.
When they went to the World Series, they didn't really have a dude like this.
No,
now, I get it. He struggled throwing strikes at the end of the year. Maybe I heard some stuff that he was getting tired towards the end of the year last year.
Okay.
Realistic. Now he's got a full year under his belt. He can be that guy for them, along with Ginkel, along with, some of their rotation pieces who had to slide into the bullpen.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that maybe tomorrow, but Montgomery.
When Corbin Burns is your 5th starter, you're in a good spot.
That's true. We'll cover that tomorrow. Let's slap and actually spend a few minutes on one more signing that we didn't get to that also went down on Friday. Kyle Gibson does sign. So we had been talking about guys like Gibson. Of course, Lance Lynn's still a free agent, but Gibson signs for 1 year, $5.25 million with the Baltimore Orioles. There's some performance bonuses in there as well, about $1.5 million. And AJ, Grayson Rodriguez is hurt right now. Obviously, Kyle Bradish went down with the big injury last year. They lost Corbin Burns. Can we sometimes have signings where the guy isn't necessarily going to start a playoff game, but he can get you to that point by eating up 150 to 200 innings for this team?
Yes, these guys are valuable. And I think they've lost their value. And I think that's one of the big issues that a lot of the players have talked about, is the players that are like this, that are really valuable and can do special things for you, aren't getting an opportunity because teams aren't giving them an opportunity. And I think these guys are valuable. Kyle Gibson has pitched in Baltimore. They loved him in Baltimore. Remember, he helped come up with the whole sprinkler and the bird bath thing. So, I mean, I love this signing. Let's hope he's ready and he can go out there and hit those incentives.
I love when I look at a guy's baseball reference page and it goes 31, 32, 29, 32, 29, 30, 31, 33, 30 starts. That way you don't have to do that to a minor league guy. That way you can figure out how to get those innings. You have to complete games. You save your bullpen, guys that make their starts every single day. Super value here in Gibby. And I'd heard he wanted $5 million, so good for him. He got more than 5.
Yep. No IL stints from 2022 to 2024, over 700 innings in the from 21 through last season, ranks 8th, so top 10. He eats innings and he keeps you in games. And the Orioles should have a good lineup and good defense behind him too. Real quick, let's shout out Trevor May's show. Maybe he'll talk about it later, but May Day, every Monday later on, please catch it at 4:00 Eastern time. It'll start on the FT YouTube channel, and then it'll continue into his channel. It's really good, and it's every single Monday. So if you haven't checked it out, go for it. It's part of the FT network. All right, fam, we'll stay on for a few minutes for the online crowd, but otherwise for the
By the way,
crowd,
Kratz, did you know it was Ginkel's birthday? Is that why you shouted him out? Is his birthday today?
No. It was the only bullpen arm that I could think of in the time for the Diamondbacks, so that's why I shouted him out.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's his birthday, so happy birthday, Ginks. Thanks for coming on. You've been a guest on here a couple times. You're great.
He's a good guest.
Mm-hmm.
He is good, yeah. And that bullpen, by the way, so you've got AJ Puck. Remember they picked him up.
I knew there was
Shelby Miller.
Shelby Miller.
Oh, you love that.
Well, is he going to make the roster?
I don't know, but he's there. He's in camp.
2
I like
weeks tomorrow.
Shelby.
All right, we're back, FT fam. Final couple minutes here. We just want to send out thoughts, prayers, and really just talk about an awful, awful, devastating situation. News from the weekend, we learned that the Gardners lost their youngest son, Miller, at the age of 14. Crazy. Not a ton of answers. The Gardner family came out with a statement too, and here's the one from the Yankees. But he said, the Gardners, Brett and Jessica, we have so many questions, so few answers. We know he passed away peacefully in his sleep on the morning of Friday, March 21st. They were away on, I think, a vacation, and I think multiple people got sick, and that's about all we know. So, but also just besides that, just awful, awful to lose someone with so much life left to live. Brett Gardner's a special part of the baseball family for a long time, and just want to let them know that we're thinking about them.
It's brutal. It's brutal when this happens to anybody. And when you spend a season with people, when your families spend a season together, the different ups and downs of the season for everybody, visiting from North Carolina, visiting from Virginia, as our wives would, going into the playoffs, you're kind of like in a bubble, not like the COVID bubble, which we were in, but you're in a bubble and you're in a group, like a safe group. So your kids, they become close. Like he's 2 years younger than my youngest son, 2 years older than my daughter. Like it's stuff like that you're like, you don't know it's going to happen. You don't think it's going to happen. And it was just like, it rocked me. It was tough.
Awful. Nobody should have to go through that.
No. So just wanted to let the Gardner family know we're thinking about you. And it's tough news to even cover or talk about. But and so, privacy wise, they released this, so felt comfortable talking about it here. Just talking about what they sent out to the world. But rest in peace to young Miller. Gone way too soon. Crappy way to end a show, but awful news for the family. All right, we will see everyone tomorrow on FT. Love you.